Everybody, welcome to my tutorial regarding how to make logo designs using layers, appearances, stroke, and fill, and a couple other things. So I want to kind of go through this. This is what I have set for you right now in terms of what the design that I'm going to be making actually looks like. So I'll take about 10 minutes or so and show you this whole process about how this whole thing goes down. So what I want to start off with is just a basic shape here. And so I'm going to start with the shift key, and if I press the shift and option together, it pulls from the middle, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to take this shape and move it off to the kind of into the middle here. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do, so I've got just a background layer for right now. And so when I look at this, notice I've got like a basic shape, and then I have these other images that are going around the sides to kind of build everything up. So what I want to do is I want to get a couple extra shapes. So I have a basic shape, but I want to build off of that. So I go in here and I'm going to use the pen tool next. And so I'm just going to draw a couple of shapes here. So this will be my mountain peaks. And then close that. So that part's done. Okay, so what I want to do with this is I'm actually going to grab both of these. And a lot of times I'll go Object, Compound Path, Make. But what that does is it kind of cuts this part out. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go into my Pathfinder. So I go Window, Pathfinder. It's checked, and so it's right in here. And so what I want to do is grab this part, and it merges both paths together, which is super cool. Then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go into adding a snow border. So I'm going to go File, Place, and when I add this snow border in, I've got this shape. Now this part is something that we haven't done before, and so I want to press Shift, scale this down so it's the right size. And so this is what I want to do is I want to turn this into a live traced image. So I want to turn it into a Illustrator file. So right now it's just a JPEG. And so what I do is I go into this image trace piece, and I'm going to go image trace, but I want 3 colors. I could do a couple of these other ones, but I did 3 colors. And so what's going to happen is it's going to turn it into a vector-based image. So once that part's done, I hit expand. And now it's filled with anchor points. And so now I have to use my direct select tool. So let's try with the direct select tool. I'm just going to click on the black area here. So it's just the snowboard. And I'm going to go select inverse. And so now I've got everything else selected minus this piece. And then I press delete. So now what I have is just the snowboarder. Now I'm actually going to go edit copy. Okay, and I want to put that on a new layer. And I'm going to call this new layer snowboarder. Okay, so I lock this layer. I go onto this layer and I'm going to go edit paste. So now I paste it in front. So now I've got my 2 layers right here. Okay, I'm going to hide this layer. And what I want to do is I want to grab all of these and I'm going to merge the layers together. And so I'm going to make a compound path. So it's like this that I've done before, but instead of that, I want to just combine these. And so now I've got just this shape. Now if I add this piece in here, then I've got that shape as well. And just so you can see what I'm trying to do here, I'm going to change this color. And I'm going to go with kind of yellow. Okay, so that part's taken care of. Next thing I want to do is add my name. And so I'm going to go, let's go type. And I'm going to type Cochran. Now the font that I'm using is a little bit different. It's called Nigfrist. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But I'm going to make this bigger. And I want my name to overlap both sides. So it'll be kind of like this. So it'll be like this here. Because I want these two a little bit separate. And so I want my name to overlap it. So that's pretty good. Okay, the next thing is I'm going to rename this Cochran. I'm going to make another layer and name that board shop. So this next piece, so I've got that. I want to take this, press the Option key so I can copy it, and I'm going to type board shop. And so I just copied it because I wanted it at the same angle. And now I'm going to type in caps, board shop. Now I want to make this a lot smaller too. So my name, the main name, stands out the most. So now as I'm doing this, you can see how everything kind of overlaps the edges a lot more. So this looks a lot better. The next thing I want to do is I've got to make a couple duplicate layers here. So I've got duplicate layers of some of them. Okay, so now I've got my board shop, I've got Cochrane, so I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in front. So now I've got a second one. I'm actually going to pull this into the background layer. Then I'm going to grab the board shop layer, select it, make sure it's selected first, and then I'm going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in front. And so now I've got the board shop. So I'm going to add those two down there. Now for the time being, I want to hide these other layers. So then everything should be on this layer. So I'm going to select all of these things, and I'm going to do shape. Okay, so now it's not doing it because these are still type files. So I've got to go type, create outlines, and then type, create outlines. And then now I should be able to select all of it and then merge those into one shape. So now you see this grouped area here? So now that's all one little shape here. So I'm going to bring these back in. I'm going to bring the board shop up here. And I'm actually going to take this and let's go eyedropper. Go into board shop. Use the selection tool. Select that. Use the eyedropper again and grab that color. And now the next thing that I want to do, so I've got them all on different layers now. So you can see all of these. What I want to do is build up this border around the side. So I'm going to leave this black. And then I start getting into appearances. And so for the appearance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the stroke and the fill box right down here at the bottom of the appearance window. So I'm going to add a new stroke and I'm going to add a fill. So the fill right now is black. I want this shape to be black as well, the stroke. And so as I add this, whoops. Okay, now one little mistake I made, which we can fix, is I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. So I'm actually going to grab, so I'm on the right layer, but I want to make sure I select the right layer. So I've got this part selected. So the next thing I want to do, again, grab the stroke and the fill, and so I've got those two. So I want the fill to be black. I want the stroke to be black as well. And I'm actually going to go to about, let's go 9, let's go 10 for right now. Okay, now I want to add another stroke to it. And so when I add this other stroke, if I add here, I'll just screw up right here and show you what this one's going to do. I want this to be a turquoise. Okay, now see how it's covering up over this one? And so I want to make this about 20, so it duplicates it and doubles it. Now I've got to pull this down below it. If I pull this down, hold on here, why isn't this guy moving for me? There we go. All right, so now I've got this shape added into here. And so I've got the black fill, so that's taken care of. Now the next thing I want to do, so I've got that taken care of, is I might even go thicker with this if I need to, but I don't have to right now. The next piece, so I've got this part. So I've got my border on this. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm probably actually going to make these bigger because I want this to stand out. I want this to have a turquoise stroke. And so I have this piece selected. I'm going to add a fill and a stroke. Now I want the fill to be yellow, and I'm going to go into stroke, and I want the stroke to be turquoise. So I've got that. So then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this stroke a little bit thicker. And so I want to make them somewhat consistent. So I'm going to go with about a 7 for this. Now there's still a border that's going around here, and so I can go into this and clean these up. So as I add this shape here, So I'm going to go into appearances. So I've got this background layer taken care of. I'm going to grab the appearance and I want to make this thicker. Okay, so you see how it's building this up more? And then I'm going to go into this stroke. So I'm at 18. I want to double that. So I'm going to go up to 36. So it doubles it, so it's going to be a little more consistent. And so now these two should be the same thickness. So I've got that part taken care of. The next thing I want to do here is I'm going to grab the board shop and I'm going to add another stroke to that as well. So I have that piece selected and I'm going to go into board shop. Let's go see what happens if I change the color of it. So the fill box, move that up here. I'm going to change this to turquoise, and then I want the stroke to be yellow. And so now I've got the yellow stroke on there and build that up, and so now the text stands out a little bit more. So now I've got an image that looks a little bit better. Now what I want to do next is just put a little finishing touch on this. So I've got this border that appears to be going all the way around it. So I'm going to add one last little piece, and above the board shop I'm going to add Alps. So for this, I'm going to use the pen tool, make it white, get rid of the stroke, and I just want to click here, try to make it as parallel as I can, and it's up to you where you go with any of your lines that you make. But I just want to make something that kind of looks a little bit like mountain peaks. And so I've got that one. And then I'm going to add one last piece right here to finish it up. And it's up to you, again, where any of your lines end up going. But I wanted to go to here. And so now, there's my design. And so there's my logo. And you can see how I started with a circle, and then I added each of these little additional pieces. So you can see how the layers work together. You can see how all of these were blended together. So I had that shape created. So there you go. If you have any questions, contact me, let me know, and I'll be glad to help you out any way I possibly can. Thanks, and I hope this tutorial was very helpful to you.